For many people, playing music is a hobby, but for others, it's a passion that they want to turn into a career. We went out to Blue Stream Records to talk to a couple of guys who can help make that happen. Then, we'll meet a farmer who in his spare time turns chunks of wood into amazing art. And we'll check in with Springfield Art Association's Executive Director, Betsy Dollar. That's next on inLife. This program is brought to you in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and through the financial support of viewers like you. Thank you. Funding for art segments on inLife is provided by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency. Hi, I'm Becky Cramblett. Welcome to this edition of inLife. In the old days, if you wanted to get started in the music business, it took a lot of talent, passion, luck, and generally a move to cities like Nashville or Los Angeles. Well, with the advancement of technology over the past 10 years, working with a record company has become a bit easier. Oh, sure, you still need talent and passion, and a little luck won't hurt, but you can probably put off that move for a while. We went out to Blue Stream Records to talk to owners Jeff Wheaton and Bob Murphy about what it takes to get started in the music business today. Tucked away in the small town of Petersburg sits the world headquarters of Blue Stream Records. However, since it also serves as Jeff's home, there were some additional considerations when it came time to get things going. So Jeff, how did it go over when you told your wife, hey, I want to put a studio in the house?
Well, you know, she's always been very supportive of the music and all, but I don't think she realized that it would turn into a campground for musicians over time, and we'd have gear sitting in the hallways and,
a little bit of a
guitars,
spillover out of the studio.
Everybody regurgitates their equipment all over the house. So.
But she's been understanding.
She's great with it, and you know, she enjoys actually, you know, she'll bake stuff for the bands every now and then, and she's very gracious about offering us food and letting them camp out in the living room and watch TV, whatever.
Well, let's talk about BSR. It's here in your house. You've been at this for how long?
3 years we've been doing this as officially as a business. Murph and I have been involved with the music industry for our whole lives, basically, and I've done other recording projects in the past, but to make this an official business, 3 years now.
The music industry itself, the music business, it has so drastically changed over even like the last 5-10 years, hasn't it?
It's, yes, drastically is a great word to describe that, and it's had an impact on the major music scene as well. But the advent of technology, everybody with a USB mic and a computer can sit at home and record their own project. Then you've got MP3s, which are compressed digital audio that's readily available on the internet for people. So it just makes music is universally available now, and universally able for people to put their music out there. At the same time, though, it's like the floodgates have opened, and now there's this onslaught of music that you have to sift through to try to find what you really, really like and what really sounds good.
Although he's been performing for almost 40 years, Jeff's partner, Bob Murphy, enjoys being behind the scenes in developing talent. And the story of how they got together goes back to the 1700s, kind of.
We started on a project. I discovered a guy out in Colonial Williamsburg, an 18th century gentleman, and that led to me getting in touch with the old guitar player in my band, Jeff Wheaton, talking about a project. Would you be interested in getting involved with this? Which led to major scope creep. The scope of the project went from, hey, this is an 18th century thing, into let's track everything authentic, I mean 100% authentic, and build Foley work like a musical soundtrack, including 30,000 photographs taken just for the artwork for the album. And that led to Jeff saying, you know, Murph, how about, you know, we, you know, instead of this being just a studio, how about we turn this into a label, and that's where we're at today.
Like all entrepreneurs, they faced some hurdles in turning their vision into a reality. Some of the decisions, such as housing the studio in the house instead of renting, has allowed them to put more money into gear, from microphones to software.
To actually basically take over Jeff and Robin's house and convert it, and slowly but surely, into Blue Stream Records. The beauty of that is all of the money that would be monthly bills can be in high tech audio gear to get the best signal chain that we possibly can get. And you're always striving for better tone. That's where I come in. My partner Jeff's a 20-plus year IT guy, and I'm a hardware guy. Preamps, amplifiers, microphones, cables, wiring, soldering. That's my bread and butter. And the two of us together, you know, is the team. And we've added, you know, people since with A&R directors like Joel Austin and BJ Bungard, a marketing director, Sean McDivitt, and an art director, Russ Friedwald. So that is the Blue Stream Records.
However, even though the technology has made huge advances, there's no trick to being successful. If I have aspirations of making it big in the music industry, how do you get started?
You get started by, number one, be ready to work really, really, really hard. You got to work hard on your craft. You have to work hard understanding the music business. You really have to be a self-made business person nowadays in today's music, and you can do that. People can make a living in the music business if they're willing to work hard and diversify, you know, play their instrument, be able to write articles, write songs, sell their songs, you know, do whatever it takes.
What about promoting and just getting my music distributed to the public? How is that done today?
Well, technology again, with the internet, Facebook, MySpace, all of those online medias make it easy for you to connect with people all over the world. And again, if you get your music out digitally on the internet, people all over the world have the opportunity to find you and become your fan and purchase your music.
Let's go back into the recording studio. There are so many different ways for you to actually pull all of the elements of a song together, aren't there?
Again, digital and technology. We actually right now work with artists all around the world, and we may be working on a project where the drums were recorded in Tennessee, in Nashville. Guitars might be recorded in Canada. We might have other musicians from around the country. They can record in their local studios, send the files to us, and then we can work the files together, mix them, and produce an album from those tracks.
Tell me about how musicians find you or you find musicians. How does that work?
Well, you know, a lot of it's word of mouth, and again, the internet. Murph, my partner, is very good about letting people know we exist out here. But because we're kind of in a growing transition phase as a label and a studio, we haven't really needed to market anything yet because there's enough local talent around who wants our services. And then once we feel comfortable that we're ready to take on national and international talent, we'll be able to start advertising through the internet and other places.
While the technology allows them to do what they do, they're very passionate about music as art and want to make sure that the talent they help develop keeps that concept in mind while crafting music.
My vision is for us to stay current with technology and utilize technology while at the same time remembering the classic values behind what really makes a great song. It's a great song, great songwriting, a great emotional performance. So what we want to do is tie the technology together so that an emotional performance can be translated through the digital world into music listeners' ears.
And that's different from much of the stuff that you do see happening in the music business today?
I think a lot of people realize that the technology is so available for them to just cut and paste and formulaically create a song that it loses its passion and its emotion. And I also think the younger generation doesn't realize how much work went into creating so many of the classic hits of the past that we grew up with. That I think the cycle's turning. People are going to be getting tired of hearing crunched up, digitally manipulated, squashed up music, and they're going to want to get back to hearing this audiophile quality of music. When we recognize talent, what we want to do with that artist is, number one, help them achieve success with their abilities to play and help them with their musical talents. That's one. Number two is their presentation on stage, helping them connect with the audience, helping them to realize that music is not just about playing a song, it's about translating a song into somebody else's heart and into their soul. So we work with them on that aspect. And we also work with them on the business side of it. Understand, you know, get your finances in order. prepare your life for this, make the commitment that it's going to require, and we're just there. We've got, you know, decades of experience doing it ourselves, and so we want to translate that. And one of our favorite things to do is mentor young musicians and help them grow. Play that one riff again.
We've been kept extremely busy, and it's all been word of mouth and reputation of Jeff and myself. As far as musical-wise, with the releases of major releases of like bands of like Following Indigo and AOE, then the world can start to take note of, wow, Blue Stream Records, you know, these guys really know what they're doing. You know, it's one thing, as with any label, you have to get your champions. And if you have your champions, then the world can take notice. Oh, well, who produced this? Where was this recorded at? You know, what's the talent? And then when the talent is there in their live show to back up, you know, to connect with an audience with how good the record is, or CD or digital download, then you really have something there.
You can find Blue Stream Records on Facebook or online at bluestreamrecords.com. While many of us have hobbies, some of which are arts related, we met a farmer whose interest developed into a unique craft, turning wood into beautiful bowls. We went out to Greg King's workshop to take a look at how he turns wood into works of art. Tell me about how you got started in this. You've been turning wood for 10 years?
Yeah, probably 10 years.
So
yeah.
how did you get an interest?
I've always been interested in wood. I took shop class in high school, and I've always built stuff for the house, and some furniture, a little bit of furniture. But
that building furniture is a little bit of a different process than what you've evolved into now, though, right? With
yeah, it's a lot different.
With the turning wood, because you're making bowls, and it's a lot more of a detailed process, isn't it?
Yeah, and every piece is different. You don't know what you're going to find until you chuck it up in the lathe and you start turning, and everything, like I said, everything's different. They're all different.
Talk about the types of wood that you use. What are the different types that you typically use?
I try to use stuff that's just local wood, hackberry, hedge, mulberry, storm damage stuff, just trees that fall down.
Is there any wood that you have found that really doesn't work for what you do?
I've had trouble with like fruit trees. Fruit wood is really soft, hard to deal with, cracks easily. I really don't use much of it at all.
What's your favorite type of wood to work on?
Osage, mulberry. They're both a lot of fun.
Between his work on the farm and his friends who know about his craft, he usually doesn't have any problem finding wood to turn. And somewhat surprisingly, there wasn't really an aha moment when it came to moving from furniture into the small bowls and vases. So you started making the furniture, and then how did you evolve from that into making what you make today, these beautiful little vases?
I thought I'd try it one day. I thought I'd turn some wood. I hadn't had a lot of experience turning wood, and I just got started, and it took a hold.
Yeah.
And I've turned a lot of wood since then.
Right. What kind of equipment is necessary to be able to do this?
Well, I use a bandsaw, and then I use the Vega wood lathe that I've got in Decatur, and that's really all you need. Chainsaw and a lathe.
You have a lot of stuff in here if that's all you need.
Well, I've got a lot of other stuff too. Sharpening, that whetstone there I use to sharpen my wood tools.
So if you could do this, if it made enough money to replace your farming, because that's what you do in the daytime, right? You're a farmer. If you could just play with the wood all day long and you didn't have to farm, is that what you would do?
Possibly. I've got more hobbies than I got too many hobbies, but it is definitely a lot of fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Right. It works then.
Okay.
Before we left, we asked Greg to fire up the lathe and give a quick look at how he does it. So this will adjust to fit into any base, any size base that you use, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. As long as it's under like 2-inch diameter, I can chuck it up.
Okay. And then this will drill out the inside. Is that how that works?
No, this just holds it between centers.
Okay.
And then I'll turn the outside.
Am I okay standing where I'm standing?
Pretty much, I think.
Pretty much is maybe not necessarily what I wanted to hear. I'll take a step back.
Yeah. Yeah, but glasses on.
It's not very noisy, is it? I
No.
imagine it to be
No, it's
a
not.
lot noisier.
First thing I try to do is make it round.
How do you know how deep to go into the wood?
Well, I can tell when it gets round, the tool doesn't move.
Okay.
So I've
that's
actually
round.
just made it pretty
Oh, look
round.
how it shows the different colors. Look at this over here. Wow, that's just
Yeah,
beautiful.
you're seeing your inside and outside
It's almost purple and
and
orange.
heartwood. Yeah, there's a lot of variance. It's like I said, every time you turn it into a different piece of wood, it's different every time.
Yeah, it looks nothing like it just looked a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
Once the outside is sculpted, time to move
And
inside.
I will. What I do is I drill a hole down the center, because the center is the hardest part to hollow.
Uh-huh.
So I'll drill a hole to as far as I'm going to hollow it.
After getting it started with the drill
just
bit,
follows
he
that
uses other
center.
gouges and scrapers.
And hollow it.
Then after you're finished with this process, what else is there to be done? Because you put a finish on them. And
Yeah, I go through sanding with from like 100 grit clear up to 600, and after it dries, and then I sand it, and then I'll put a polyurethane coating
you can
on
find
it.
Greg's work at the Illinois State Museum store in downtown Springfield. If you've seen Springfield Art Association in the news recently, it's most likely because of their most recent acquisition. We're talking with Betsy Dollar, Executive Director. Betsy, tell me about this new piece out in the yard.
Well, her name is Sibia.
She's a name.
She has a name, yes. And she was stopping traffic out on 5th Street.
I can see why.
So the city requested that the artist remove her, and since there was a stir in the news, we decided to offer sanctuary to Sibia, and so she moved into our sculpture garden and is our new protector, basically. And she's a great addition also for Halloween and this time of year, because she has strobe lights and things like that. So at night she lights up, which is very cool.
Yeah. Tell me about the piece itself. It looks like it's involved a number of different material.
It's primarily a redesigned motorcycle.
So it's all motorcycle parts?
Well, mostly motorcycle parts. Some of the pieces are fashioned from other found objects, but it's all found objects, and a great deal of it is a motorcycle completely refashioned.
And who is the gentleman that created it?
Travis Taylor, and he lives right up the street on 5th Street. So he's part of the neighborhood. And that's another reason we were interested. We really try to be an active part of the neighborhood and support certainly our local artists, our neighborhood artists. So that's why we got involved and moved her up here.
Was the traffic stopping happening at night when it was all lit up, or in the daytime as well?
Daytime as well.
Yeah.
It was from what I understand, an around the clock thing. And there was an accident right in front of his house, somewhat attributed to the sculpture, I think, which probably started the whole problem.
Have you seen a certain amount of interest in people coming by to see it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there are some folks out there right now taking some pictures. So yeah, our regular traffic and members are thrilled that we jumped on this opportunity to make a home for the sculpture. And yeah, neighborhood residents are wandering through to take a closer look. And although it's not terribly visible from the street, you can still see it. So if someone sort of knows where to look, they can glance over, but then they're free to come around our driveway and take a much closer look without causing any kind of traffic hazard.
Betsy's been with the association for about a year and has quite an extensive background as an artist as well as an administrator. She started her art education at the Minneapolis School of Art and Design, then later learned film animation in Chicago before settling in Boulder, Colorado for 20+ years. While she was there, she ran a production company and also earned a BFA and MFA. And while she misses the mountains, she has been impressed with the art scene in Central Illinois.
Wow, the Art Association is an amazing hub of activity. Sometimes I refer to it as a 5-ring circus, mostly because we do everything under the umbrella of arts, visual arts education and information. But we also have the historic property of Edwards Place, which has its own art collection. So there's the management of the historic property and promotion of the historic property, as well as the management of everything that's in it, art and furniture and structure. We have the Gallery of Art, so overseeing an ongoing calendar of exhibitions. Which is a real mix of community-based organizations who use our gallery, as well as inviting artists from all over the country to exhibit here. So that's an interesting mix. We're standing in the Michael Victor II Art Library, so every book in this room is about art or related to art, and it's part of the Rolling Prairie Rolling Prairie Library System.
Okay.
So people can check a book out from here without actually coming here. They can go to their library and check it out from there. But they're welcome to come here, look through books, do research, whatever. We do lend from here as well. And then our most important piece is the School of Art, where we offer a full range of classes in a variety of media for all age groups. And an offshoot of that is our art outreach program, which goes directly into the schools in Springfield.
Now, you host a number of events throughout the year. What's your next one coming up?
The biggest event of the year is the Beaux-Arts Ball. It's been around since 1930, and it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. And that is a large family event that is exactly what it says. It's a ball, it's a dinner dance, and a way to acknowledge the families who have participated in supporting the organization throughout the year. All the rest of our events are much more arts-centric. We just finished up the Edwards Place Fine Art Fair, which happens on the grounds all around the Art Association and in front of the Historic House. It is always the third weekend in September. We are moving into the Holiday Hall craft fair and sale for Christmas presents. Perfect to come here to go shopping for your holiday gifts. Then in the spring we have a fundraiser called Personalities Paint, where we ask local luminaries to come in and whether they've ever picked up a paintbrush or not, to create a painting that is then auctioned off. And we give lots of support to that. We have tutorials. They have an artist who is sort of a mentor that helps them create the paintings. And generally we come up with an interesting array of paintings to auction off as a fundraiser that way. what other thing? We have so many across the course of the year, but that's a snippet of what we do.
You can get more information on upcoming classes and gallery exhibits on their website, springfieldart.org. That's all we have time for on this edition of In Life. We'd like to thank Betsy Dollar and the Springfield Art Association for their hospitality. For all of us, I'm Becky Cramblett. Thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, email us at inlife@WSEC-TV. This program is brought to you in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and through the financial support of viewers like you. Thank you. Funding for art segments on In Life is provided by the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.